Hey guys, this is Kiholm. I hope you're all doing well. Since the release of Maracuja a couple of weeks ago, I've received a lot of nice messages from all around the world. So as a little thank you, I wanted to give you a bit of an insight into how I made Maracuja. One of the first things you can see is that I didn't use that many channels for this project. And I did this on purpose because I believe fewer channels makes it easier to mix the track, and it often also results in a cleaner mix. So I tried to pick and combine the best possible samples and sounds I could find. Also, another thing you probably noticed is that I colored everything and I sorted it a bit. For me, that makes it easier to go back in an older project if I want to use a bass sound or hi-hats or whatever. Let's start out with the kick. The kick is actually made of 2 layers. The low sub part comes from the Nicky Romero, and by creating the lower part in the Nicky Romero kick plugin, it helps you to keep the track in the root key of the whole track. So I believe this one is in D minor, so the sub is also in D minor. The top part of the kick is a Vengeance sample, and I merged the two together, and I've given them a little bit of equalizing and a bit of I took off a bit of the release of the kick to make it a bit tighter. On top of that, there's something I like to call a ghost kick. It's basically just a little white noise sweep that fades in, and it kind of gives the kick a little more thump. You can try play the kick just by itself. And if I add the ghost kick, it sounds like this. See if we can. I hope you can hear that, but I do believe it makes a bit of a difference. Then we have some claps. And below that I have a little snare, and I have a tip for you guys. To help speed up your workflow, throw in all your samples into a sampler. It makes it a lot easier to work with, as you can work with it as a MIDI. It's easy to change the root key of the sample, and it just makes it more easy to make small tricks, like for example here in the end I'm doing a bit of a pitch bend. Moving on to the next channel, I have something called a white noise hat. It's just a basic white noise from Silence that I bounced. I added a bit of tremolo to give it a bit of a stereo feeling, so it goes a bit from left to right. So it makes it a little more interesting in the stereo perspective. And then I have a regular hi-hat just below that kind of supports the white noise hat. So that's pretty much the drums, really, really simple. Moving on, then we have the bass line. The bass consists of 2 layers, a sub part and a main bass part. The sub is just a simple Spire preset inspired by Moog. And what I've done is just some low cutting and a bit more low cut and a little bit of high cut as well, and sidechain. It's super, super important to both low cut and sidechain pretty much all your elements except the kick. The sub bass sounds like this. Then I have the main bass. It sounds like this. The sound is made from Spire. There's kind of 3 elements that really makes this sound. First off, there's this Wow 2, which is a filter. and it kind of beefs up the sound a little bit. There's also a bit crusher in it. That's the second part, which makes it a little more sparkly. So I can just try turn off these plugins, and then I'll show you guys what I mean. So this is without anything on it. And then if I add the filter, it already makes a huge difference. Then the third and the final part that really makes the track is this distortion plugin, Camel Fat. It just makes it a little more beefy. And then there's just some basic equalizing, a little bit of compression, a bit more low cut, and again some side chains to make sure that it doesn't conflict with the kick. Okay, that was the bass parts. Then I have this synth called the mouse plug. I made it in Silence, and I used a bit of a bit crusher to give it some more character. So here's the sound without anything on it, any plugins. And then if I add the bit crusher and a bit of distortion, and then just a bit of equalizing and compression. And then I further processed it after bouncing it to audio. And it's again just basic equalizing, some low cuts, cut away a few frequencies, and a bit of compression. And then there's this little cool plugin called Center. This part is the mid part, so to speak, the mono part, and this part is more the stereo part of the track. So I lowered the mono part a bit, just to give it a more of a stereo spread feel. So sounds like this so far. Then there's a basic mid synth. I think I also made this one in Silence. It's not really a very special sound, but it kind of adds something to the main bass line. And it also goes in the same rhythm as the clap. Let's see. Then the next part is this gated synth. It also comes from Spire, In My Mind, so it's inspired by the famous Axwell track. Sounds like this. Oops, sorry. What I've done to this one is I added a bit of bit crushing to tame the high end, and I created this vinyl effect to make it a little more interesting. And equalizing compression and a little bit of tremolo in the end, just to make it bounce from left to right. And next element is the art bass. It consists of 2 layers. Again, it's a main layer and another layer adding a little more bite. The main layer I made in Spire. Oops. And again, there's this vinyl effect to make it a little more interesting. And the extra layer is also Spire presets. And again, what's really interesting here is the vinyl effects. Alright, then we have these 3 elements. A synth hit. This is a sample, I think, from a Vengeance sample pack. And then these 2 synth fills I've made in Silence. just to make it a little bit more interesting and playful. The next element is the this one called the saw pad. It's just a old basic patch from Nexus, the Super Saw X4, and I've added some EQ, compression, again boosted the stereo part and lowered the mono part, and I believe there's some vinyl again just to make it a little more fun. And it opens up. Okay, so let's see what else we got. There's this one called the SHM, Swedish House Mafia pitch. That's a sound inspired by Swedish House Mafia 1. And it's also just a basic Nexus patch with a bit of equalizing and some sidechain. Final two elements of the groovy part is I have this Vox effect. I think that's a bit more of an organic feel to the track to add vocal samples. You probably don't really hear this one, but I think it adds something in the background. And it's actually playing with the whole groove in pretty much the whole song. The last part is the guitar. Obviously it's playing the full part in the breakdown, but I wanted to create a bit of a red line in the whole track, so I decided to chop it up and make the guitar part of the groove, which you can hear here. If I should highlight anything about the guitar, then it's this triplet delay that kind of makes it a little more playful. Okay, moving on to the breakdown. This drone, it's just basically a simple bass note. It gives the breakdown warmth and a solid feel. And I've automated the cutoff to make it a little more interesting, so it kind of opens up the more you get into the breakdown. And it's just a massive patch, bit of distortion, low cut, equalizing, and some sidechain when the kick comes in the breakdown. Next up is the piano chords. I kind of made them to provide a bit of attack and depth to the drone sound. And it's just a basic Nexus patch, again with some equalizing and compression. The Latin piano, it consists of 2 layers, and the Latin piano is this one. First layer is just a simple sample from within Logic from the EXS. It's the Yamaha Grand Piano. And the second layer is Nexus presets. And I just gave it some simple processing. And then I bounced it down into this WAV file. As you can see, I like to bounce a lot of my files. I do that to help save the CPU, as it's a bit of an older iMac I'm using. What's really interesting about the processing of this Latin piano is primarily this bit crusher I added. And again, the sensor to spread out the stereo fields. The next one is this backing layer. It plays the same melody as the Latin piano. I added this layer to help it cut a bit more through the mix. When the whole track drops, I also added another piano. It's just, it's a very simple piano I bounced down as an audio file, and it helps emphasize parts of the Latin piano when the track drops. Sorry about that. So I think you guys get the point. Finally, there's a couple of elements in the breakdown I think makes it a bit more interesting. It's these 4 samples, which some of them comes from I believe the Brazilian carnival. This first sample, it's a recording of a crowd within the carnival. And the second one is a sample recorded in some kind of market in Brazil. This is just some Latin percussion and just a Latin shaker, and they sound like this. These samples adds a lot of atmosphere to the breakdown, and it also adds something organic which helps make this track stand out a little bit more. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, just feel free to drop me a line on either Facebook and Twitter, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Thank you for watching.